Okay, so we're going to go over a Chapter 7 concept, surplus and taxation. It's going to get us into that. So we're going to start with our graph. We got supply and demand. We're going to look at the market for oil. So we're going to mark our market equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity. All right. So first of all, let's talk about surplus, okay? So we're going to look at the area first between equilibrium and the demand curve. So all these different points along the demand curve are different consumers in the market, right? And so there are different prices at which people are willing to buy a good. So if someone's willing to buy a good at $1,000, but market price is going to be $500, then they are going to have $500 worth of surplus, okay? So meaning that they thought they were going to have to pay $1,000, but they ended up paying $500, or they were willing to pay $1,000. So between equilibrium and the demand curve, we call this all consumer surplus. This is when you can shade, and you should shade. So now the same thing goes for producers. So we're looking between the supply curve and market equilibrium right now. So same as with demand, the supply curve is made up of a lot of little individual producers in the market. And they all have a specific price at which they are willing to sell. So if someone's willing to sell something for $200, but market price is $500, then they have a surplus as well. They make $300 more than they thought they were going to make. So surplus is great. So again, this is producer surplus, and it should be noted that when we're at equilibrium like this, consumer surplus and producer surplus are going to be equal. So now we're going to get into taxation. So we're still in the oil market, and say the government imposes a tax on oil, and the supply curve is going to shift left. So as you can see, the distance between the shifted supply curve and the old supply curve, that is the amount of tax, okay? Right. So let's look at the market equilibrium at the old point. So that was our old producer and consumer surplus, right? So now when we shift up to this new point in the market, we lose a chunk of surplus right there, that triangle, okay? And that's going to be called deadweight loss. Now this rectangle right here, that's the government tax revenue. And the little triangle up there, that's going to be consumer surplus now. And this little triangle down here, that's producer surplus. So obviously we lost a lot of surplus because of that tax. All right, let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.